Hey everyone, thank you for watching Brush Sauce Theater episode 21. In this episode, I'll kind of be going over or showing some revisions I did probably about a year ago on a student paint over for my mentorship, and I just wanted to give you a little general background on what led up to it. And so these were the first original thumbnails that he had produced. And I think they were all fine, and we could have eventually reworked or worked them up each into their own individual scene. But he ultimately was more interested in doing this type of robot citadel or covenant type thing, where they're kind of worshiping this old type of statue thing, but it's like mostly a robot society and stuff. So pretty interesting stuff. And so the ultimately the scene kind of played off this one here. And we settled for a lower camera angle to kind of bring us down into the scene, rather than this one was a bit more static, just kind of viewing it much more from like a fly on the wall, or just someone that's outside observing it. So, and throughout it, we had revised some of the main character anyway into something like this, where we were talking about the designs, and just because if this is going to be a character in the forefront of the scene, I thought we should make a few conscious design decisions regarding him. So went through a few revisions on that as well, and just some notes I had given him on the side regarding these. I think it'd be important to figure out what type of power it runs on, how it distributes that power to the limbs, and how the joints moves, connects, and rotates. And most importantly at this stage, decide who the design is aimed at. He had originally just sketched out two different heads, and they were the types of eyes were very different in terms of vibe and feeling. So is it peaceful, or is it destructive and menacing? So figure what his role in society is, and once you know that role, you can use exaggerated characteristics to express that. And I always love when characters do that. You can, or like spaceship designs, you just clearly look at it and its function, right? For example, if this robot was going to be like a hot dog vendor, right? Have him have forks for arms and like a built-in grill into his chest, right? Where it just pops open, he just kind of picks him up and serves him, right? Super obvious and functional, right? At the same time. So with that said, let's jump into the critique session that we had that week. So already he has the scene pretty far along, but I just wanted to kind of show him a few tips and tricks to kind of push it to a more professional level of finish. And we'll be basically, he got it up to the story is he got it up to this level. So I'll show you a couple sketches. Yeah, and then he kind of was getting a little stuck on how to polish it, how to bring it more up to a professional level, I suppose. He has the values, the colors all locked in, bits of detail kind of scattered throughout the image. So I guess right now the idea is to clean it up and to tie it all together in a more cohesive way. And so I'll kind of begin running through that now, and that's a little give and take in certain areas. Do you push things back, in detail? Do you bring other areas of detail out? How do you adjust the lighting, etc., etc.? So yeah, I'll be tackling this, and hopefully you'll enjoy watching and you'll learn something along the way. This scene is as the title suggests, a bit of a robot or a droid little covenant, a little gathering, with these worshippers and stuff like that. So yeah, it's kind of a fun scene, something I normally don't typically do. So it was fun for me to kind of tackle this. And my main thing is I want to get this immediate character to pop more. So I want to get these blue lights. What I'm doing here is I want to get these blue lights kind of coming out from behind him, like a hidden light source, just like this. So I can keep making selections of the various areas, and then lots of erasing, and just bringing out around where his waist area is there. It's a good. I think it's a, overall it's a pretty good composition, and it's a good setup, to tell a story and to deliver a fun concept. And that's part of what I try to teach in my program is, primarily it's scene design, and how do we ask ourselves the right questions to even set up a scene before we begin, and are we displaying everything? Are we choosing the right angle? Do the colors we select, psychologically represent the mood we want to portray? All that type of stuff we cover. And so I think he hit most of those notes, and rather well up to this point. He just, as a student, or in his artistic career anyway, was just lacking a little experience in terms of actually getting images, all of his images up to this level, so that he can really give it that last, 20 and 10% to really kind of push it. So what I'm doing here is, I'm trying to tie all the colors a little bit more together. So I kind of cooled everything off, and then I'm taking away some of the occlusion shadows in other areas. It kind of gives it a little bit more of the cinematic feel, I feel. Hopefully I'm not wrecking his piece. He didn't think he was happy with what I showed him, and hopefully, if you guys think I destroyed the piece, just let me know in the comments. That's perfectly fine. But I want to now kind of tackle the idea of this light kind of blooming, radiating through this back window that's really kind of ornate and a little bit majestic in itself. And so that just often requires a bit of a layer adjustment, put on light in, and get it to bleed through. You don't want to go crazy with it, I'd say, but, you can turn it down by adjusting the opacity on the layer. Oftentimes it helps, and now I'm just kind of breaking that right on through nice and strong, and then it'll be a matter of erasing this in all the right areas, this light that is. And it'll be a good fun play of warm and cool lights, because mostly everything on the inside here is nice and cool, and the only warm light we have is that natural light, kind of coming into that main window in the back, which is fun too, because it's essentially warm in the back and cool in the front, which is generally typically how our eye perceives things, in reverse, where usually, if we're looking at a scene, warm colors kind of tend to move forward and cool tend to recede. But yeah, there's nothing wrong with doing the opposite, and that's exactly what I'm trying to tackle here. Oh, he's got so many fun little characters in this. I really liked what he kind of came up with, this whole little world that he's building. And a character often just starts as simply as a silhouette, and it's just a matter of, all right, how do you fill that silhouette with fun? With you break down the shapes and then complex into less complex ones, and usually 3 different reads in terms of size. And I'll kind of be doing that a bit more with that main character up front in a little bit. But I'm losing too much of that detail in that window, so I do have to push it back. And so that's how a lot of this type of grand type of light is set up. You see there's before and after, just a little bit more tied together well. But anyway, that's generally how I kind of unify light, and then I tie things together and make them look a little dynamic with the colors, a couple different layer passes. Then I thought this was the perfect opportunity to given that it is a bit sci-fi and lens flares are all the thing now, I thought I could drop a non-Photoshop one into the background. The Photoshop ones are overdone and don't look that professional anymore, so photos work fine for this, and then just erase out what you don't need. There we go. So that looks kind of cool now. It's like that cinematic shot where the camera pans down and we find this evil cult droid leader is figuring out some piece of some ancient puzzle that's under the statue, and then all hell breaks loose. I don't know, there's just so much narrative here. So I'm telling him to look at reference, basically, in terms of droid design, and that's, to have the different layers on them, with the coverings and then the inside, and of course I'm going to go to a little bit of photo bashing to get for some instant detail in this robot. I tried a little bit here with the environment. Ultimately, I don't really think it needed it, and I don't think I really use it. But yeah, I try anyway to see if I get anything good out of it. Not really though. I could suggest a little bits of detail here and there, making careful selections like that. Indicate that there's something up above even that's vast. That's just quick little detail suggestions. It's nothing that's taking away or even distracting in the scene, and that's what to be mindful of if you go to use photos in a hand-painted scene. Already is, kind of blend them as seamlessly as your skill can let you, like that. You just don't want them to kind of jump out at your face and be like, hey, look at me, I'm a photo, I was just kind of thrown into the scene. I often, in my opinion, find the best concepts and images the ones that are just drop dead awesome illustrations that kind of border on the line of concepts, because concepts tend to be a lot quicker work than illustration. They're more loose. A lot of them are photo bashed, but yeah, if you look at ones from like anything from like Naughty Dog or even stuff from what is it? A lot of the RPGs out there, you'll see they blend them together really, really well. So now I'm going to start taking a little bits of these mechanical bits. These are great photos for this, car assembly lines. Can take it and just bring it right into that robot and start suggesting some detail. Yeah, that's a good little shoulder, a little bit of an arm. Delete that. And this will serve as like the underbody of him. I'll basically be painting some plates right over him, trying to build up some sort of anatomy within the robot like this, some type of design language. But see, that looks good. I just need to delete what's off the robot. There we go. So yeah, given the complexity of these photos, using one photo throughout in several different areas is rather valuable. It's a valuable asset to have this photo. So now I can kind of go back and start detailing out that. I mean, as is, the robot itself was really nothing more than a quick colors sketch and suggestion. So I feel that it needed a lot more attention, given the fact that it is a focal point. So I'm going to begin to blend a lot of these photo elements I just used right in there. Using the lasso tool for this type of stuff helps tremendously to get nice, crisp edges. Put that up. It's just parts where it gets a little too busy, like this. I just want to add, it's like if it's like the armor, I want to add the plating above it, and then it's in the little cracks that I'd see all that busy detail. We'll just look at any kind of film robot, or stuff, the robots from like Elysium or Chappie. You can kind of see how they're designed, and they're designed so well and cleverly. You can learn from just looking at those and then themselves. I'm just kind of putting some highlights around where it needs to be and adding even more cover parts. This will pretty much just tie up what I wanted to show the student with the piece. Is alright, if you get your image this far, you stuck, get out some reference and really look and study to see what you can do to just keep pushing it in terms of quality. I mean, overall, I think I had spent maybe 40 minutes doing this paint over session. So, that's just 40 minutes. You can make it, in my opinion, so much better. Imagine if you just put in 2 to 3 hours even. You could really just, everything is there in the image. All the hard work is basically done. you just need to develop that eye, that artistic sense of what's really kind of pro level of finish, and can just gradually increase the fidelity of your work to get it there. I'm just drawing extra little gearbox and having fun with this. I'm not a professional robot. This is a disclaimer here. I'm not a professional droid robot designer or even just industrial designer. Most of you probably know that, but even with a very simple knowledge of that stuff, as I have, with just putting some core fundamentals, principles to it, as I'm applying here, it's kind of easy to fake it. And that's what you're doing, right? If you're taking on client work anyway, you have to convince basically everybody that you're efficient at drawing anything, because you never know what someone's going to ask for or what someone's going to need the next day for you to draw or paint. So you have to become fluent in everything, almost. And then, well, basically, it comes down to, pardon me, be really quick at referencing and know how to problem solve. It all comes down to problem solving. I got this weird tickle in my throat. But anyway, this is wrapping up anyway. Just to kind of, it could use a little more work, but I think it's a good step in the right direction. You can just add little cuts and extra gears and wires. And, the sky's the limit. Have fun with it. Add glowing lights on them. Anyway, I hope you guys were able to get something out of this, and if you enjoyed it, please subscribe and tell your friends, and thank you for watching, and take care. Hey everyone, for this episode's question, Jack from Facebook reached out and asked, he said, hello again, we spoke a few years ago. You gave me some feedback on my portfolio, and I sent you a new link, and I'm not sure if you remember or not, but it's still there, and I've come a fair way since then, and I was hoping you could check it out, so it'd be pretty cool. And I get a lot of these requests, actually, and I don't have time to answer them all. That's why I did kind of run it through my mentorship now, but I did want to follow up, to something I did. I started a conversation with him, 2 or 3 years ago so I did want to check it out, so let's do it. Okay, so what you're seeing now is basically a few notes I had sent him. His work is on the left column, and what I ultimately did was just grabbed 3 random pieces from his portfolio site, and because this general feedback could have been applied to all of his, and I wanted to share this with you because I feel a lot of you could probably benefit from it, since I see a lot of this stuff. If you're just like a general artist looking to get into concept art or game art, for design and all that kind of fun stuff that we all know and love. Generally speaking, if you're not sure if you're ready or not to make that leap into like the professional side of things, you gotta learn how to objectively analyze and kind of look at your art. And so with these 3 in mind, I had just went to other professional sites of the same subject matter, as close as I could match it basically, to the samples I had grabbed. And this is what I did and even still do with my own work. Once you kind of push the piece as far as you can, you just look at it, side by side. Like, is this as good as this? Is this as good as this? Art is a bit, subjective in that, if this opinion's that or that, but, I'm mostly referencing on a technical scale. And so, the few notes, as you probably saw already, there's no sense of color in here. Look how much just by tinting something like this blue could do. It's, the coolness of that color suggests really how cold it is. I don't even know that's snow right off the bat unless I analyze it. with color notes with this as well. It's just monochromatic, and it's too sloppy, so that applies to that as well. Just a little too rough, and you can just see with this, comparing it to this, how much, if you clean it up, it will go a long way. And generally when things are a little sloppy, they look unfinished, and that's what this is. I think for most people, most people consider it just a rough color sketch or something. This is just way too rough. There's no polish to this at all, and on top of that, the composition is also lacking. Now, the composition wasn't the problem with all these, but maybe you didn't think twice about the composition. Am I choosing the best angle for this shot? And you could go into a whole thing on shot design itself, but for now, you have this ending almost at 50% with nothing on this side at all. So I feel, and it's not just about detail and up-res everything in a scene. I mean, look at this here. Knowing what not to detail is just as important as knowing what to detail, and I can't stress that enough. So that's just some quick notes, and to sum all this up, for most of you, just compare and reference everything in a scene. If you don't know what mountains look like, get your reference for mountains. You don't know what swamp shacks, go on the internet, go to Pinterest, Flickr, Google, get your references. All right? So thank you for watching, and take care.